the complete Midnight Jewelcrafting guide based on hundreds of hours testing professions on the beta. In this video, we're covering the best way to level jewel crafting, how to get all the profession knowledge possible so you can maximize the gold you make, the best knowledge builds depending on what you want to craft, and a bunch of min-max tips that most guides completely miss. Let's get into it. Jewel crafting has changed a lot in Midnight. Not itself so much, but the materials, and it's definitely made things a lot more interesting this time out. Glass, stone, and all gem types now have quality ranks, which wasn't the case in the previous expansions. On top of that, Eversong Diamonds, the new epic diamond, now comes from prospecting instead of alchemy, which is great. So let's get our profession level up then. For our basic leveling route, we need 5 Umbral Tin Ore, 5 Refulgent Copper Ore, 50 of whichever ore is currently the cheapest, 7 Duskshrouded Stone, 2 of each coloured rare gem, so that's 2 red, 2 blue, 2 green, 2 purple, 4 of each of the coloured uncommon gems, except the red one, we need 5 of those, 4 Petrified Roots, 50 Glimmering Gemdust, 17 Crystalline Glass, and 3 of each mote, so that's Mote of Light, Pure Void, Primal, and Wild Magic. Don't worry about remembering that, all those materials are in the description below for you. Now, you see me using rank 2 materials here, you would probably use rank 1 as it's cheaper, and it doesn't matter for leveling. Now, nearly all of these materials you can make yourself through prospecting, but that's probably not a good idea. Unless it's the first few days of the expansion, you'll be able to get these much cheaper off the auction house than trying to make them yourself, because at this point you're just horrendous at prospecting and crushing gems. That being said, the first thing we're going to do is prospect those 50 cheap ore that we got, and this is just going to be a little bit of cheap, easy skill, and hopefully just get a few of the materials that we need. Make sure you turn first time crafts on, that's going to be important going forward. Train up. Now we should have Sindori lens, we need to craft 4 of these. From here, all you're going to do is craft everything once for the first time bonus. Keep crafting, keep training, there shouldn't be any issues for quite a while. Now as you get to like 48 to 49 skill, you can potentially run out first time crafts to do. This is very dependent on RNG, but luckily it barely has any effect on us. If you run out of first time crafts to get yourself to 50 skill, then you're just going to craft some Monologuer's Chalice. This costs basically nothing to craft, just 2 crystalline glass until you get to 50 skill. Do your last training at 50 skill, craft the last of the first time bonuses at 50, and you're done. That's going to leave you on a massive 30 jewel crafting knowledge points, which is an insane start. Now there are some further decor recipes that you can pick up from the trainer there, but that's more of a long-term thing, grabbing those for first time crafts. Just like most professions, there's no reason to rush to cap jewel crafting skill early. Skill only really starts to matter once you can craft rank 2 items. By the time you reach that stage, material prices will have dropped massively, so waiting could save you a lot of gold. And you'll also gain skill naturally over time through patron orders while you're picking up knowledge anyway. Therefore, only think about leveling up to 100 when you're in a position to actually need that skill. If you do need to push to 100 skill, then as usual, gear and profession gear crafters usually have a pretty good time. Just do your thing to level up. You can use the plus skill finishing reagents to craft at max rank until you're able to do it naturally if you need to. Now, gem and reagent crafters have a bit more of a hard time. Rare gems only go to 75 and PvP gems to 85 profession skill. Epic gems can take you to 100 skill, but this is a very expensive way of doing things. You do not want to be crafting these at a loss with the materials that are involved here. The cheapest and easiest way to level your jewel crafting to 100 skill is via embellishments, via the stabilized gemstone bandolier or the prismatic focusing iris. Now these turn green at 90 skill, so we'll take a few crafts, but the materials that go into them is actually really cheap compared to most crafts that push to 100 skill across all professions. These are dungeon or delve drops, so I imagine you can probably pick these up for an okay price maybe from the auction house, at least a lot cheaper than spamming epic gem crafts anyway. But yeah, the longer you leave leveling, the cheaper it will be for you. One of the first things you should do when you start with jewel crafting is collect all 8 profession treasures. These give you 24 knowledge points and they're absolutely crucial early on, so here are the locations. We're going to start with the Sindori Masterwork Chisel in Silvermoon City, 50.6, 56.5. This one is inside the building with its entrance a bit awkward to find in this little side alley. Also in Silvermoon, over in Murder Row at 55.5, 48.0, we have the Vintage Soul Gem just sat on a crate. Still in Silver Moon, well kind of. Just outside, in the far northwest, we have the dual function magnifiers at 28.6, 46.4 inside the building. Head just outside the city, this time into Eversong Woods at 56.7, 40.9 on a table inside this building, easy. Also in Eversong, we head over to the northwest, this time for the Sindori Gem for Satyrs at 39.7, 38.8, once again just sat on a table. Over to Slayer's Rise, the subzone within Voidstorm to grab the speculative Voidstorm crystal from 30.5, 68.9 inside this building, just left on the floor under the table. Shattered Glass from 62.8, 53.5, same zone. And finally, also in Slayer's Rise at 54.2, 51.2, we have the Ethereal Gem Pliers on the floor within the refinery. How about some more regular sources of knowledge then? When it comes to patron orders, you want to prioritise any order that rewards glimmers of Midnight Jewelcrafting knowledge. These give 2 knowledge points each and are the biggest factor in progressing your profession long term. It's worth saving your concentration for these kinds of crafts on characters that are not concentration crafters, because sometimes you'll get rank 2 requirements that you can't craft yet, and you do not want to miss out on knowledge early on because it can be a pain to catch back up again. If you start falling behind on knowledge, you'll also begin to see flickers of Midnight Jewelcrafting knowledge. These give 1 knowledge point each. Do them and they'll help you catch back up again. Just like in last expansion, each week you can pick up treasures that reward knowledge. The Void Touched Eversong Diamond and the Harandar Stone sample are the ones we get for jewel crafting. These come from world treasures, so yes, you are farming again, and they give you 2 knowledge points each, so that's 4 extra knowledge points per week from doing this. Your profession trainer also gives you a weekly quest tied to patron orders, which rewards more freebie knowledge points. Since you're doing patron orders anyway, just make sure you pick up the quest before you start doing these at the beginning of the week. And don't forget to use a treatise every single week. Get a inscription character to craft one of these for you for the free extra knowledge point. And when Dark Moon Fair is active at the start of the month, you can grab an easy free knowledge points from a quick quest. Importantly, Dark Moon Fair is active during the week that Midnight launches, so don't miss it in the expansion release hype. You can also get an extra 10 knowledge points by purchasing Skill Issue Jewel Crafting. This is from the Silver Moon Court Reputation vendor in Eversong Woods at 6 Renown. Renown 6 isn't too hard to reach, so this is a really solid early boost that shouldn't be too hard for you to get. Jewel Crafting also has several sources of knowledge from recipes that are not from your trainers. Each of these gives you 1 knowledge point as well on first time crafts. We have 5 PvP recipes, a couple of embellishment recipes that we've already talked about, and some gems that fall into this category. Now, this is not insane amounts of knowledge points from recipes like we get from some of the other professions, but it's still a nice boost. Some of these will be quite expensive early expansion, but prices should drop over time. So if you're trying to min-max knowledge early, you can gain a bit here, but it comes at a cost. With jewel crafting, there are some really strong opportunities for vertical integration. This means handling as many stages of a production chain yourself using properly optimized crafters at each stage. For example, you could do prospecting, say for example into vial crafting. So you take the output of your prospecting and then using that into further crafts. But then you can do this across professions as well. So then you could feed those vials into alchemy for crafting potions and flasks, for example, while also using the other prospecting byproducts for gem crushing and gem crafting, for example. To do this properly, each stage needs a well set up crafter, but when it's done correctly, it's one of the strongest ways to squeeze extra gold out of the exact same materials. But as always, know your profit margins before you click craft. Specializations then. Gem cutting build first. For this, we're going to run a multi-craft tool with a multi-craft enchant. You absolutely need to get 30 points into outrageous output. You're really going to struggle without it. The multi-craft bonuses here are insane. Maxing out skilled savings next is not a terrible move either for the huge resourcefulness bonus, but this could be debatable. We could potentially have a gem cutting build where we have spent 75 knowledge points without even touching gems yet. Now, by this amount of knowledge, you could have unlocked rank 2 crafting on a gem if you went straight into gems. This is potentially a move as well, race to a rank 2 craft. This is fine, but there is some degree of risk involved here because if somebody beats you to it, then the profit margin could be gone. If you max out the multi-craft and resourcefulness nodes first, then you can craft any gem competitively. Not perfectly, but a rank 1, so that depends if you think there's any demand there. You can also craft most reagents at rank 1 pretty well as well, as you have most of the crafting stats for that too. Eventually you need to max out the entire Glamorous Gems tree and pick up outrageous output for multi-craft and skilled savings for resourcefulness, but the order in which you prioritise them is up to you. YOLO into rank 2 gems isn't terrible, but it comes with risks. Reagent crafting. So this is a multi-craft tool with a multi-craft enchant. This is our vials, lenses, kaleidoscope prisms, embellishments, this sort of stuff. Just like last time, we're going to put 30 points into outrageous output, 30 points into skilled saving. This sets us up really well for doing all of this at rank 1. From here we can put 30 points into proficient processor, 30 points into material manufacture. This gives us a few more crafting stats as well. Then you can max out boldly basic to be able to craft rank 2 basic reagents, or optionally optional. Like with gems, you can skip the multi-craft, skip the resourcefulness, rush straight here and get the rank 2 crafting as early as possible and maybe get a big payout, but there's a lot of risk involved here. Gear and profession crafting then. We're going to lump these together with jewel crafting. We are using a resourcefulness tool here with a resourcefulness enchant. Super simple really. Max out alluring accessories and whatever it is you want to craft. We have regal rings for ring crafting, luxurious lockets for amulet crafting, and our final one is for profession gear as well. You also want to put 30 points into skilled savings for the resourcefulness bonus for this as well. This is quite a simple setup really. Gem crushing, resourcefulness tool with a resourcefulness enchant. For this I would unlock skilled savings first, a huge bonus to your resourcefulness, which is great for crushing. 30 points into proficient processor, 40 points into crushing connoisseur for you to be able to crush a rank 2. Now there's a small amount of resourcefulness within the crushing trees, but it's minimal really. What this actually means then is that a lot of the builds, like Reagent crafting etc., that picked up skilled savings for the resourcefulness bonus early are actually really good rank 1 gem crushers as well if they have a resourcefulness tool with a resourcefulness enchant. There is some crossover here potentially if you want to do multiple things early on if you've got multiple profession tools. At the time of recording, we don't know really what's going on with prospecting. It's fine guys, it's still a full 8 days before Midnight releases. To be able to prospect, you need to max out Prospecting Pro, 30 points here, no debating this. This basically gives you a chance to get more gems when you prospect and will be mandatory to do this at a profit. Because you have maxed out Prospecting Pro, then you've unlocked all the individual ore nodes. Now all of these used to be 30 knowledge points each, and you need the last point in each of these individual ore nodes. The last node allows you to get Eversong diamonds when prospecting. Currently on the beta there's no knowledge points on these. If this gets changed back to 30 points before release, then you need to max out any ore that you want to prospect. If it stays like this, then as soon as the ore's unlocked, then you can get Eversong diamonds, and that makes prospecting really easy. At some point you need to put 30 points into skilled savings for the resourcefulness buff here, and 30 points into proficient processor will allow us to prospect rank 2 ore properly. Hopefully they bring back those knowledge requirements, as this is going to make prospecting pretty dead if it stays like this. Crafting speed is extremely important if you want to maximise your gold per hour while crafting. The file of quick hands from Dragonflight still works in Midnight, 30% crafting speed on all Midnight crafts. You should be using this anytime you're doing a long crafting session. Also at the time of recording this video, Weaver buff from the War Within still working on Midnight crafts. Finally, one of the most important parts of any profession is knowing what your crafting is actually profitable, especially with things like gem crushing and prospecting. Tools like CraftSim are fine for the actual crafting, a shameless plug for my crafting sheet on Patreon as well. So that's the complete jewel crafting guide for Midnight. If you found this helpful, I'd really appreciate a like. And if you want any more help, we've got 20 in-depth Midnight profession guides completely free on the Discord, link below.